ideas for topics, and I was going to talk to you about like it's almost like the Michelle Hicks method of scaling your coaching business. So I will come back to that, but I think what I want to talk to you about today is it's something that was triggered by something that's unfolding for another coach whose community that I've sort of been in and out of over the last few years. And it just reminded me of the ugly side of success. And it's one of those things that we don't really talk about very often, but I think, it's probably important to talk about. And so this coach she's rebranded her business. She's taken her business in an entirely different direction, which is totally her prerogative, right? But one of the things that she did under her own brand was she sold a package, and a lot of people are doing it now. I'm thinking of doing it myself at some point. So she intended to write a book over 12 months. And so you purchased the product, and then you got to basically have a behind the scenes of the book writing process. And so the way that this particular coach did it was every month there was a new video and there was some kind of journaling prompts underneath. And I thought maybe she's just going to have the book transcribed or something like that. But this particular coach's brand has been, she's very much speaks about, quality and doing things well and all that sort of stuff. And the book is, in a word, it's awful. I received the digital version of it and it's very underwhelming. I'm not going to read it. I started to read it and just went, oh my God, what happened? There are no page numbers. There's no table of contents. I'm supposed to get one delivered at some point, but it's very, apparently I've been told it's just like it's pretty average. What everybody was expecting and the way that it was built up, it was going to be this amazing hardcover coffee table book, very much in keeping with the style of that particular coach. And it's pretty flimsy. You can't open the pages properly. Everybody was promised that they would receive a I can see lots of people on, and I didn't even realize. And so a lot of people are very, very, very disappointed about the book. And so that was the thing. Everybody was going to have a signed copy of the book as well, and they didn't. Well, she decided that she would digitally sign it. So everybody that's got a copy, it's just a digital signature. And inside the group that was part of that book package, people are not happy. They are really, really not happy, and they're venting it. They're not being rude or disrespectful or anything like that. They're basically just saying, hang on a minute, we were promised this. And when one of the ladies mentioned, in Australian dollars, this cost $500. And it's like, I can't believe I paid $500 for that. But I kind of forgot about the investment. But it was really interesting to see the way that she handled it. What she basically said was, things happened and all of the rest of it, but I'm really proud of the book. I'm really proud of the book. And I'm like, but are you really proud of the book? It's awful. And the way she handled it wasn't great. And then there are some people in the group that are saying things like, this thread's very negative. And I'm like, it's called feedback. Like when you put yourself out into the world like that and you promise something, if you don't deliver on what you promise, you have to expect that people are not going to be happy and they're going to voice that dissatisfaction, right? Alternatively, there's another coach whose book package that I purchased as well, and she's gone out of her way to deliver. The book has gone gangbusters. She released it on Amazon and a few different places, and the book's gone gangbusters. And we've had to wait longer than anticipated and all of the rest of it because of the COVID delays. But she was so upfront about it, and she's going out of her way to make up for that. And wasn't her fault, but the way she handled it was beautiful. Everybody was very forgiving. The way that the other coach handled it, I don't think people are that forgiving. And so they're kind of the details, but I want to talk about the broader topic of what happens when you build a profile online, when you build a brand online and people become part of your journey, when you create change or when you don't deliver on something, which is why I am so friggin' committed and obsessed about delivering on promise. Because once upon a time, many years ago, I didn't deliver. I thought I was delivering. I intended to deliver. I felt like I was delivering my half, my part, but the results weren't there. And I blamed the people that I was working with, thinking, well, out of the, say, 8 of you, 5 of you are really successful and 3 of you aren't, but you all got the same information. And you can be that way, right? Or you can go away and think, okay, so how can, and I guess the people that didn't get the result were dissatisfied and they went about it in a really shitty way. And it really, had an impact on my business. Now I do have clients that don't get results. That's just the reality of coaching, right? But I still have people that don't get the result that they wanted come to me and say, it was not your fault, you did everything. I just, couldn't do this or whatever it was. And we part on really good terms. And they also leave saying thank you so much. And they're really grateful for our time together. It's a very different picture to what I experienced back in like 2013 or 2014 or something like that. And so I learned that lesson really on, right? I learned to weather the storm of when you build a community and you have this. When I took my business in a different direction, so I had the Art of Kicking Ass Elegantly and then rebranded as myself. And I closed out a lot of my old programs and things like that. And a lot of people had a lot to say about it. Not that it had anything to do with them, not that they were affected. They could still access their old programs, all those sorts of things. But a lot of people had a lot to say about it. And I just remember thinking, wow, people turn really quickly. And there's not a lot of, I guess what I want to say is this particular coach who didn't handle it very well, people weren't forgiving because she didn't handle it well. And she wasn't humble in her her apology. It was almost like, well, I'm saying sorry because I'm expected to, but I don't really believe I need to say sorry. I'm proud of the book. And it's like, well, you can't be because it's shit, and I will give people a little bit of leeway, but it really wasn't great. And so the ugly side of success that I'm talking about is that people, can and will turn on you. And when you, especially if you are on an upward trajectory, did I say trajectory? Trajectory, when you're on that upward trajectory and people are watching, people's noses are going to get out of joint. And if your demeanor changes and you start to, get too big for your boots sort of thing, it's an Australian saying. I don't know if you say it overseas, but when people start to think that you get a little bit too big for your boots and you start to succeed a little bit too much, it can make people really uncomfortable. And then it's almost like they look for an opportunity to be able to jump in and have a say and make you feel bad. And it's really, so I'm watching this coach and I'm just thinking, oh my God, you really could have handled that better. But I'm also thinking, oh, she's on that journey. I remember what that was like and it sucks so bad. It's awful. And I thought, she's putting on a good bravado and all the rest of it, but I know she's going to be, you say it in the UK as well. But I know she's going to be really hurt by some of the comments and all the rest of it. But as I say, you've got to take responsibility. If you promise something, you've got to deliver on promise, and that's just your responsibility to do. And so my thinking was, what she should have done was just said, I'm going to refund everybody because this abort project, this hasn't gone the way that I expected it would. And she didn't do that. And she probably still has an opportunity to do that. And I would hope that she would. But yeah, it was just a really, it's been full on. I imagine it will be very full on for her. And it took me back to that time when I was kind of in that space as well. And it's not a good feeling and I don't wish it upon anyone. But here's the good thing. On the other side of that, you learn so much. I am not the coach that I was back then. There is just so much that I do differently now. There's so much. Back in the day when I was first having success and making, money that I never ever thought I'd be making, I was spending it and I was showing it and showing the luxe lifestyle and all the rest of it. And I didn't feel like I was showing off at all. I was just enjoying myself and proud of my stuff, proud of what I was doing and proud of the fact that my business created this and all the rest of it. But there are going to be people out there who just don't like to see you grow and there are consequences. But I find that you'll go through that and you'll come out the other side of it and you'll just be so much wiser. And so for me, it doesn't matter how much success I have now, I feel really grounded in who I am, and it always is coming back to that. It always comes back to, you are who you are, and be grounded in that. And, even if you change and evolve and people don't like it, that's okay. That's okay. You can outgrow your audience. You can outgrow the type of people that you work with. We are humans that evolve. Like, that's what we do. And so if you're going to put a few people's noses out of joint along the way, kind of bad luck, if you know where you're headed. And I think the only caveat I have around that is, so long as you like what you're doing and you like your reason for doing it, that's the only thing you have to be satisfied with. Because I know this particular coach in that group, everybody was adoring of her. They couldn't be more complimentary, but it did not take much for them to turn, and then the comments started coming in. And as I said, I don't think they were bad. They were just, I didn't disagree with any of them. I just thought, yeah, the book is crap. And oh yeah, we did pay $500 for this. I would have expected a bit more than that, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I know how she would be feeling, and even her new business, she's gone in a different direction of her business, and it's not my cup of tea. And a lot of people were voicing dissatisfaction around that too. And so I'm sitting there observing this and thinking, oh God, she must really be feeling it. And no worries, Susan. Enjoy. You can watch the replay. Thank you. But I'm also thinking, I hope she's deeply grounded in who she is and where she's going. And while, she may lose thousands of people right now, the ones that she keeps are going to be the ones that she wants to keep, and she will attract more and newer people. Yes. Yeah, and she's going to attract more people that are going to be on board with what she's doing now. But it's that transition. It can feel heart-wrenching, But I know for me, on the other side of it, the clients that I attract are 100 times better than any client that I've ever worked with before. The vibe of my business is so much, it's so much more relaxed, all of those sorts of things. So I got on the other side of that and am so much better for it. So sometimes, it is really ugly and messy and all the rest of it, but never forget that there's always a lesson in it. And also a reminder as well that when people were, back in the day, when things were said, they didn't hurt me if they weren't true, but if there was an element of truth in there, it was like, oh yeah, I could have done that better. That's when it hurt, because when you're the sort of person that, prides yourself on, delivering on promise and all those sorts of things, and it doesn't happen, then you just want to kick your own ass. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel nice. But the thing is to just own it, and just say, you know what, I made a big mistake, or this is what happened. So yeah, if you've been there, or if you're in it, or if you're scared of it happening, I guess the only advice that I have for you is, it's just part of growth. And if you feel like you're failing, if you're feeling like you're offending people, and if you feel like all of those things, that just means you're in it, right? You're in it and you're doing it, and you're getting feedback one way or another. And if you get feedback and it doesn't feel nice, have a think about why it feels awful. Is it because there's a bit of truth in it and you need to up your game in a certain area, or is it just because it's unfair? Sometimes we get pissed off because the judgment other people have of us is completely unfair, and I get riled up about that a little bit. But honestly, in all of the years that I've been online, and I've been online since about 2005, 2006, something like that, that was one incident, and it was many years ago now, but it really defined me for a time, and it was a line in the sand moment for me to make a lot of change, good change. And I can remember one other comment from a person. I was doing a journaling program many years ago, and it was, I think, $4.97 US, and I had some lady come on and say, that's really expensive, you should be doing this stuff for free. And I'm like, yeah, right, lady. And I didn't have to say anything, because my community just jumped on that lady and they're like, you don't know her. She gives away so much free content. It was like I could just be hands off. And that felt really good. This was probably not long after I'd been through that process. And I just thought, yeah, I'm attracting people who really get me, who really appreciate who I am, and who are going to defend me because they know I'm a good person and my intentions are always good. And yeah, it's just, I don't know if this is useful, not useful, whatever, but I just felt like I had to talk about it today because, it happens all the time. And you see, so some coaches just never come back from it. They'll put a foot wrong or not deliver on something or whatever, and they'll create this big story about it, and then they won't ever recover from it. And then they'll go and get a job or something like that. I just want you to know that it happens and there's a reason for it usually. And for me, that reason ended up being such a massive catalyst for change. But everything that I've done ever since has just been 100 times better than it was before that ever happened. So, yeah, I don't know what the final point is to wrap up, but if you are going through it, maybe you're the person that's going through it right now, or you're getting ready to change and you're scared that this is going to happen. Just know that, people are going to be dissatisfied and unhappy. But yeah, that's, I guess, my point, that in all the years that I've been doing this, I had that one situation where it was like I was being ganged up on and they were going in different groups and talking about me and stuff like that, which is just awful, right? But I didn't see any comments. I didn't want to know about it. I didn't want people coming back to me and saying, oh, they posted this about you. It's like, I don't want to know about it. I don't, there's nothing I can do about it. Don't want to know about it. And that other one comment and my supporters, I guess, jumped on and dealt with it. But out of all the stuff that, think of how many hours I'm on the internet, how many pieces of content go out there, how many live streams, how many videos. And to have had one incident that was like a bit ugly and then one person just post a bitchy comment and it didn't stand for long because people jumped in, like that's pretty good effort. And I think that really comes down to me just being who I am. I'm transparent when things are going really well. I'm transparent when things are not going so well. And I just get up and I show up and I be as useful to you as I can be. Sometimes the stuff that I talk about probably isn't relevant for you, like today might not be. And then there are going to be other days that you hear something from me that just is the thing that changes everything for you. And I know that happens because people tell me that all the time. And so I want to say to you, get up, show up, show up as often as you feel called to show up. Be authentic, be you. Yes, I remember when we did Kicking Us Elegantly, and it was a program for making six figures plus, and one lady said just six figures, and we all jumped on her and we said quickly, hoping she wouldn't continue the program. Okay. I don't actually remember that bit. I don't actually remember that comment. That's really interesting. Yeah. So, I guess you get what you focus on too. But yeah, what I want to say is, like, sometimes we have to weather a bit of a storm, but you are always going to get back what you put out there. There are going to be assholes on the internet. It doesn't matter. Like, those people knew me and were really going for blood. And that hurt because I had put a lot of time and energy into those people. But the person that commented about, you should be doing that for free, like, I don't give a shit about that stuff. Like, it's not, like, you wouldn't even bother responding to something like that. But show up as you, be authentic, just be who you are. And, some people are going to like it, other people aren't going to like it. I don't get hate stuff because I don't try to be controversial for the sake of it. I know coaches that go out, you'll see I don't really talk about politics. I don't talk about religion. There are a lot of things that I don't talk about just because it's like, that's my personal opinion. And I don't want to have a debate on the internet about something and maybe, upset a lot of people. I don't know. It's not that I'm scared. I just don't think there's value in it. There are plenty of other people out there that are, posting commentary about politics and all the rest of it. It's just not something that I feel the need to do. But those coaches that do that and they know they're going to cop it back, it's fine. They're just like, well, I know that for every, my side is this, there's an opposite side and there is going to be debate. And sometimes that just happens. But I feel like if you're the sort of person that just wants it to be harmonious on social media and to just draw in people that are going to be really, supporters of you and all the rest of it, then intend that, put that out there. And when those shitty ones come along, just because sometimes they do, just remember that, there's such a small percentage of it. And if you decide not to show up or launch something different or rebrand or whatever it is, if you decide not to do it because you're worried about, the 1 or 2%, not even, like, as I said, over all the years, I've hardly had anything. Then you're letting them win, and they're the people that are not in the arena playing, the Brene Brown topic about, unless you're in the arena, getting bloody and wounded and getting up and still going. If you're just sitting on the sidelines watching, you don't get to have a say, right? You only get to have a say if you're in there doing it as well. And so I'm going to leave you with this final piece of advice, which is just be committed to showing up and doing what you do in your way, and be okay with whatever comes back to you. But you can create an intention that, I only ever have good things happen on my social media. You can do that. You can ask for that. And then you can just feel into that and produce content that creates harmony on your pages. Do that, and you're going to have a really good experience of social media. I have had almost nothing but great experience on all of the platforms that I use. And you can have that too. So if you see people having haters, hating them and all the rest of it, you can see some people that are just so like beige in terms of like they're not controversial at all and they're not doing anything that would offend anybody, and there are still haters. Some people just seem to attract it for some reason, and some industries more than others, I think. But you're not going to let that stop you. So you have to just make a decision that, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm going to show up. I'm going to, say what I need to say. I'm going to stake my claim on the internet, and this is who I am. And if you like it, hang around. If you don't, go away. It's okay. I'm not going to be offended. And just go at it with that attitude, and don't let it stop you. Anyway, I didn't really get to a point. I hate it when I don't sign off with a really good, strong point. But anyway, I hope you get what I am talking about. It's not going to be for everyone, this live stream, but I'm sure somebody needs to hear it. Anyway, have an amazing day, and I will be back next week sometime. Bye.